beings hate making decisions.
We're doing just fine.
If you're going to be successful, if you're going to become a better man,
you got to take care of yourself.
You know, that thing called life calls, and you've got to do something about it.
A bottle of wine again.
There are times when you just think, fuck it, I just want to quit. Got to learn to do the exact opposite.
Starting today.
What is conversion rate optimization? It's kind of an obsession with testing.
Start small, think big.
So that's it. Thank you and good night. This has been Take Traction. You're welcome. Have I got to speak now? Boys and girls, welcome back to the Take Traction show. Thank you so much for tuning in again this week. It is episode 16, ladies and gentlemen, and this week we've got a we've got an episode on whether you should start a blog, create software, or create an e-commerce store. And it seems like a bit of a superficial question, but really we're going to be diving into a lot more, I suppose, philosophical stuff in this week's show, in this podcast. We really dive into how different business models can actually complement each other, and how you should kind of diversify your entrepreneurship journey. You know, how you should diversify across multiple business models, and how each of them can complement each other, and how you can actually find that one business model can create the necessity and the content for another business model. So we're going to be going through that. We're going to be going through some great examples of people who are doing just that, and how you can apply it to your business strategy over the coming years, and essentially in doing so reduce your risk and increase your happiness. I think ultimately, of course, the financial implications are always going to be important, but ultimately what it really comes down to is happiness, and working on your business plans this way can really help improve that and help get you on the right track. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. As always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time. Right, Christian, we are live. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Charlie, all good. It's actually a really noisy day. It's raining. Yes, it's raining, and there are thunders that scare everyone.
Damn. That's like Mexico. And Mexico has the weirdest thunder. It's like, so I've been in some pretty heavy thunderstorms in my life. In Argentina, for example, you're in these beautiful plain fields, I mean like flat, just for miles and miles and miles. And so when these storms come in, it's like you're right in the middle of it. You've got lightning all around you.
Nowhere to hide.
And you can see, sometimes you see the bolts of lightning come down within maybe half a mile of you or something, and it's so loud. But in Mexico City, there is something, I don't know why, I guess it's to do with the altitude, because I always forget what it is. It's like 2,000 meters or something. Mm-hmm. Or is it feet? I don't know. It's a lot. I think it's like 2,000 meters. So for some reason, when there's lightning outside, it is terrifyingly loud. Like, so loud, it genuinely is. Like, you think, I don't know, it surprised me, and all my friends were saying, no, it's really loud here, it's really loud. And I was like, yeah, no, I've been in thunderstorms before, I know what loud lightning is like. And then I heard it, and I was like, wow, that's some
you were
serious
wrong.
Fucking, yeah.
Right, so
I got a rainy day.
Yeah, so I had to close all the windows so we can actually record.
Yeah, damn. I keep... Go on.
No, go on. Is that the same lady again?
Or is the what?
The lady that keeps selling stuff or tries to get... No.
I was just gonna, see, this is the problem. There's too many damn things going on in Mexico. But another thing that's really strange is that it's not particularly hot weather here at the moment, but it's still quite nice. And then suddenly these thunderstorms that come almost on a daily basis around 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes if it starts to rain heavily, it rains hailstones.
Ooh.
You know, that like ice.
Yeah.
And they're these massive fucking balls. And I've got a video, I've got to send it to you actually. The other day it was hailing so hard. And the streets literally filled up. It looked like snow. The streets filled up with ice.
Really weird,
absolutely
isn't it?
Insane. Yeah, it's warm outside, you know.
When it's 20 degrees. Celsius.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't expect ice or snow.
Yeah. Really
the biggest I've seen was the size of an egg.
Are you serious?
I'm definitely serious. And
excuse me.
And I'm talking a chicken egg.
Well, I'm glad, because if it was an ostrich egg, that could be a bad situation.
Indeed.
Where was that?
Well, I was at my grandparents in the countryside. Luckily,
so Romania.
Indeed, in Romania. But luckily, we had the car covered. But a lot of people had their cars smashed. I mean, there was glass everywhere.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The roofs were torn apart. So I
remember.
It was bad for the agriculture.
Yeah, it just destroys crops.
Absolutely.
I remember going to Spain when I was a kid on a family holiday, and we flew there, we rented the car, and of course we're going on like a summer holiday. We're expecting to go to the beach. It never rains in Spain. That was what we had in our minds, at least. And we get there, and it's looking a bit grey outside, and we go and we rent the car. My dad signs all the papers and stuff, and we all get in the car. We drive out the airport. We drive for about 5 minutes, and suddenly it starts hailing. And they weren't necessarily as big as eggs, but they were fucking massive hailstones. And we were just there were cars just sliding across the road, because it was like driving on golf balls. You know, everyone was just sliding all over the place. And we were just terrified that it was going to damage the car, because we didn't want to have to, because they'd fucking charge you for it. Yeah. Mother Nature.
Mother Nature, it's scary.
Actually,
it started raining really, really hard. Really bad.
What now? Here in
right
Romania?
Now there are thunders. I think there's.
What do you call them?
Coming.
They're thunders. They're not called thunders. They are. It is thunder. I don't know. How do you say that? Someone listening, you must know, because like you have lightning and thunder, but thunder is already plural. You can't add an S to thunder, like thunders. Well, maybe you can. Maybe I'm wrong. There was lots of, I don't know, in Spanish they call them truenos.
Yeah? We call them tunete.
There you go.
There we go, so it's similar.
Right, should we talk some marketing stuff?
I think we should.
All right, let's do it.
Too much.
Well, before we do that, I'm interested to see what's going to happen. I think we're going to have to do a new intro for the podcast. If anyone's tuned into Oppie News, which I highly recommend you do right now. Oh, yeah, let me quickly introduce this. So, for anyone listening to the podcast, we've decided to launch a new podcast, essentially. The same podcast, the same channel, but we have set up a podcast called Oppie News, and to be honest, because this podcast isn't going to be coming out for a few weeks, we should be on like the 5th episode of Oppie News or something by now. But go and check it out. What we're doing is every Friday we're going to be releasing a news podcast where we discuss e-commerce news, but not just the news, it's our opinion about the news as well, hence the Oppie News podcast name. So go and check it out. It's just a bit of a fun way for us to kind of just keep up to date with everything that's going on, share it with you so that you know what's going on in the world of Amazon and eBay and, you know, all these e-commerce things. And yeah, hopefully have a little bit of a fun conversation as well. Not quite as long as these podcasts, and hopefully much more informative with regards to what's going on outside of our little world. So go and check that out. And what I was about to say is that I really want to see. I really like our intro on it. I really think it just shows a lot of character and stuff. So I really want to play around with getting a new intro for this one as well. So perhaps by the time, by the time this is released, we'll be on a new intro. So let us know what you think of the intro to this podcast. Now, with that said, let's jump into the topic of today's podcast. We are talking all about should I start a blog, create software, or build an e-commerce store? And that's really just like the very beginning of it. Really what we're talking about is, should I create a blog, e-commerce store, podcast, application? you just got so many options now, so many different things to do, or that you can do if you're thinking about a business to start up, right? And it's this constant thing. If you've got like the kind of entrepreneur's bug and you like building your own businesses and you don't like working for other people and you don't like sticking to the 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, then you are someone that most likely is constantly thinking of new ideas. What can I do? What types of businesses can I start? How can I make a living, or how can I make more of a living? How can I diversify my income and all those kinds of things? So you're thinking of business ideas, right? So if that rings a bell with you, then you are someone who's definitely thought to themselves in the past, should I start a blog? Should I build an e-commerce store? Should I import from China? Should I build my own products? And it's very difficult to know which one to go down, because they're all viable options, right? And we're not comparing like drop shipping or wholesale here. I mean like the general kind of things you can do. Blogging, because people can make a good bit of money from blogging. Podcasting, loads of people are podcasting. You hit like everyone that you are obviously listening to and kind of receiving information from in the world. They're blogging and podcasting. That doesn't mean they're only blogging and podcasting. They've got businesses as well.
Well, I guess it comes to the question: are you good at writing? Are you a developer? Are you an entrepreneur?
Disagree. I massively disagree.
I'm not saying a developer can't write, but if you're already good at writing, from my perspective at least, if you're already good at writing, and you do have a blog where you're putting all your thoughts, then why not think of ideas to monetize it? Yeah,
and that's going to be very true. So first of all, I've got to give you credit there, where if you've got a natural talent, if you love writing, then go with writing to begin with. Start a blog. If you are a developer, then perhaps software is a great route for you to go down, because it's something that's very accessible for you. But I would bet that 95% of the people listening to this podcast don't feel that they have a natural talent for writing, don't feel that they have a natural talent for, or don't have a talent for development work or coding, have never imported something from China. And so then what do? You go, well, I'm listening to all these people on podcasts and stuff, and they're just so elitist. I'm not talking about ourselves, by the way. I'm talking about many other amazing podcasts out there. And you listen to them and you go, well, these guys are killing it, right? They're recording this podcast and it sounds great and professional. How the hell are they doing that? And then they're writing these blog posts that are really professional, and they've got all these ebooks and things. Should I write a book? That's another one, right? That's another one that comes up time and time again if you're in this area of work. It's the kind of thing, especially now that we're in the era of self-publishing, where it's becoming more and more popular to publish your own books. It's another option. You go, hold on, there are guys out there that you perhaps listen to or read about, and they've got an e-commerce store. They've then released a book. We're talking about this guy, Aubrey, whatever his name is, who is the co-founder or the founder of Onnit. This kind of natural, this health and supplements and optimization type of e-commerce store. And he's just released a book, right? And it's like, dude, how have you had the time to release a book? You're the CEO of a company. And then he's on podcasts all the time, not his own podcast. Maybe, I don't know if he's got one, he might do. It's like, how do you do all these things? And so then you go to yourself, well, the best guys out there are doing everything. So where should I begin? What should I do? If I don't have any skills, if I don't have any raw talent to do this stuff.
Well, I guess you tend to have a natural raw talent. Or at least tend to be better at some things than others. So
yes.
So for me, it's pretty hard to find a developer that can write well. So but that's from my experience. I've never met a developer that would actually enjoy writing.
Yeah, that's very nice. A full-time developer? No. I mean, a lot of the big podcasts I listen to are people who are developers. I know, like if you go to Fizzle, Fizzle.co, I'll put it in the show notes. Both Corbett Barr and Chase Reeves, the two co-founders, they run courses. They run a platform that is offering courses to people to help them grow their indie businesses. They call them independent businesses. And they also run a podcast together, and they also write blog posts together all the time. And they record videos for these courses and make amazing videos. They're both developers. Corbett's a software developer, and Chase Reeves is a web developer.
I do agree. What I'm actually saying is, from my perspective, what I've done in the past was I found out what I'm best at, and I took that the quickest and fastest route to gaining some money. And then I've started experimenting with even podcasting. I've never done it before, but I'm doing it now.
Which brings me on to really what my actual point was when writing the title for this podcast, right? Should I write a book? Should I start a blog? Should I start a podcast? Should I start an e-commerce company? Should I build an app? Should I create software? The answer for me is yes.
To all of them.
Yes. You should do all of it. You should do all of it, and for many reasons. And before we go into those reasons, no, you shouldn't do it all at the same time, right? You'd be crazy to start it all at the same time. But the end goal, the end objective, should be to try with all of those things. And there are some really good reasons why, for each one. Firstly, blogging. And this will be interesting to talk with you about, because I know you've never blogged, and I think that's not necessarily 100% because you don't like writing. I know that's a part of it. I think it's also because of the fact that you're Romanian and writing in English would be a pain in the ass for you. Not that you can't speak English, but I know that if I have to write a blog post in Spanish, it's just a bitch. Like, it's just not the same as writing in English for me.
It won't have the same feel. The article won't have the same feel, or you won't be able to express yourself the same way as you can do in your own language or your native language.
You can't flow when you write. So so I understand why you have that difficulty, but I think absolutely everyone should write. I think everyone should write in their lives, and it's very much the same kind of the same reason that people suggest that you journal, that you keep a daily diary. Now, I don't do that. For me, it's more about blogging. And the truth is, I haven't been blogging for quite a long time. I really want to get back into it and start pushing that again. We've been so busy with other things like the podcast and stuff. Go on, you're about to say something.
So, when I was doing affiliate marketing, actually, I wrote a lot of stuff and I replied to a lot of technical questions. So I am able to write even in English. I don't necessarily enjoy it as much as I enjoy advertising or selling online.
Yeah.
But I did try that as well, because I think it's an important part of any business.
Yeah.
Being able to express and share information.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It is a process of recording your thoughts, right, and exploring ideas. And it's very much the same reason why we do the podcast. So you can kind of put the podcast and the blog in one here. The podcast, I mean, there are different reasons why you should do a podcast as well, but they're both similar in the sense that it is about exploring ideas in your head and getting them out, having to vocalize what you are thinking. And this is something we have a lot of difficulty with as entrepreneurs in life. And it's there's so much shit going on in your head, right? There's so much stuff going on in there, so many ideas, that you just kind of get all these thoughts kind of wrapped up in a big whirlwind, and you think that you can see something clearly and something makes sense in your head. And until you go and try and say it or put it down on paper, you don't know if it's actually making sense. Because sometimes something...
Sorry, go on.
What, try and sell the idea to someone?
Try to sell that idea to someone and see if it sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Or to a group of people.
But even if it's not just, well, I suppose, sell the idea. We're not talking about a product here. Sell the idea. Not. So if you've got a theory, an idea or whatever, it's only when you start to actually speak it that you go, oh shit, that made so much sense in my head, but now that I'm saying it, it sounds stupid. Or the other way around.
Yeah.
And so podcasting and blogging are great ways for you to be able to basically explore your mind. Explore your mind and get things out. Blogging is a little bit more intimate. I find it's a little bit more inside your head, which is why it's kind of more, because podcasts, you've got this conversational aspect to podcasts. Writing sentences on a piece of paper, there's no pressure of time, there's no pressure of, can I keep this conversation going, or have we got any awkward silences like you've got on a podcast? It's all about just taking your time to get the right words out of your head. And that's a really beautiful introspective process. And I think it's a really good and healthy one to do when you're in business. And here's the thing with that, right? Whatever your main business focus is, if you have decided that you're going to if you're going to write a book, right? Here's why you should podcast on the side. Number one, you could be a podcaster. Here's why you should blog on the side. Number one, you could be blogging about the process of writing the book. So the whole way through writing the book, you are writing down, you're journaling your emotions, your feelings, and your progress and all the rest of it, while at the same time you're building an audience. And all of a sudden, you've written the book. All you've done throughout the process is written down your experiences. And suddenly you've got an audience of people who are interested in knowing more about how to write a book. So what have you got? You've then published a book. And what can you do next? Well, you can then go and create a course on how to write a book and sell that course to your 10,000 followers that you've already got, right? It's literally, it goes hand in hand. At the same time, if you want to write a book, well, pick a topic. Let's say I want to write a book about, indoor plants, okay? About urban plant, whatever you want to call it. I'm looking at my plants, obviously, in my house right now. Well, perhaps you don't know where to start. So go and start by writing a blog, right? Go and write blog posts about those plants, about your different techniques for planting them and all this kind of stuff, and what types of plants people should be buying or whatever. And find out which blog posts become popular blog posts. And then you can really know what information or what information is going to hit home, what information is going to resonate with an audience, so you know what to put in your book. That's just talking about a book, right? Let's say you want to start an e-commerce company, and you're going to build your own product, and start selling it through your website. Okay. Well, if we blog about all those processes, then we've documented the process of, building an e-commerce store. And if we have success, then that gives us the ability, it at least unlocks the door to being able to reach more people with a new product in a different category, such as courses and things like that. Yeah. It's very much what we're doing at the moment, and I don't know if it's going to be released just yet. Should I mention it? I'm not going to mention it, but we're going to be releasing something interesting at the moment, which is going to be, or very soon, which is going to be a process that we're going through at the moment with starting a new company. And we've been documenting the entire process. Literally, we've been recording video and audio of our entire process of building this company. And we don't know if it's going to be successful or not, but we're sure as hell going to document it, because if it is, then that information is content, or the stuff that we've created is content that we can push out to the world, and just help to build other aspects of our, I don't know what you'd call, I was going to call it careers, but, our business in general. Because,
and even if it fails, we can always go back and see what we did wrong.
Exactly, right.
Do it better.
Yeah, it's this journaling process. And so I think we could go on for hours about how blogging and podcasting can be really effective. I think James Altucher, do you remember the other day I sent you that article from that guy? So James Altucher talks about it a lot. What was it? Yeah, like 99 things from I can't think what it was. Anyway, I'll try and I'll stick the article in the show notes.
Lovely article, by the way.
Yeah. But, he talks about it a lot. He talks about how, he blogs a lot. He really blogs a lot. And granted, he is quite a natural writer. He likes writing. But this is a guy who's had investment funds. He is a programmer, right? He's a software developer. He has released 16 books or something like that. He's got a massively popular podcast. He's got all these different things going on. Now, again, I must repeat, there's a very fine line. You don't want to be doing all this stuff at the same time and never doing one of them well, right? But there are some that can complement each other, and doing them at the same time can really be beneficial. And I honestly think either a blog or a podcast, or even I would say a YouTube channel.
A lot of people do it lately. And some of them become millionaires with just a YouTube channel, which is ridiculous. But
it's crazy. It's the TV. It's the TV of the 21st century. I mean, indeed. YouTube is fucking massive. I bet you in an evening, I'd be interested to see the statistics. I bet you, like, on a daily basis, more people watch YouTube than people that watch the TV.
I am one of those.
Yeah, exactly. So, you can start a YouTube channel. I honestly think starting either a blog, a podcast, or a YouTube channel alongside whatever your other thing that you're doing is a fantastic way to really analyze what you're doing. And I think you should do it. I think you 100% should do it. And the problem is you're going to be sitting there going, oh no, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to be on video, and no one's going to want to watch my video, and no one's going to want to listen to my podcast. No one's going to want to read my articles. Well, no, at first they're not. No, of course not. And don't make that objective.
If you're scared of what people might think, or if you're scared that you might get negative feedback, then there's no way you can succeed. You got to throw yourself into the lion's pit and just take it like a man, or a
take it like a woman. That's even a bigger thing to do. Yeah. You know, taking something like a woman is a real challenge, I tell you.
I agree.
So yeah, and it's a fantastic way. I mean, so starting this podcast, we had no idea what we were doing, right? Really had no idea what we were doing, whether it was going to be successful or not. It didn't really matter. It was just the process of being able to put out content. We're working on a lot of different businesses at the moment. Another business could be that you are selling services. That's something that Christian and I do a lot. It's just, it's really helped us to develop ideas, to build an audience. That's something we're doing. And you know that because you're listening right now. And help open our options to other areas. What happens if you want to build software in the future, and you haven't had a blog, you haven't got any followers, you've got no one to sell your software to. So it really helps to build, or the same goes with a book, or even with an e-commerce store, right? So it really helps to build out your own internal network of, different business models, right? Because there's no reason why you can't. And it's a fantastic way to diversify, and it's a great way for you to increase your kind of knowledge and skills and ability. You will get better at blogging, right? I think blogging is probably one of the things that people most have difficulty with, right? It's kind of difficult to write. A lot of people don't enjoy writing, and it's not going to be easy at first. And you might be really crap at first, but you will get better at it. And you're not going to be good at podcasting at first. You're going to suck at podcasting. We're still really struggling with the podcast.
Absolutely. But we're pushing ourselves over the limit and trying to get better.
Exactly. So that was kind of my thing. Yes, you should be doing all of this stuff. You should be getting involved in everything you can, making sure that you don't ever stop yourself from succeeding at one thing, though.
Agreed. And in the right order, I guess. Because a lot of people, if they choose one of these and they're not that good at it, they might get scared and not do anything else at all. If they're not, they might be better at blogging than building an e-commerce store. So if they don't start with the blogging, they might get scared and not do anything else. Just get a normal job.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. No, it's true. And you got to do stuff in the right order. If you build you can't start it all at the same time, obviously. You can't start a podcast and build an e-commerce store and start building software and all that at the same time. You need to follow this natural process. But that is, I think my point there is, it's very good for you to begin with that vision in mind. So you could say to yourself, right, I want to build an e-commerce store. Now, while we build it, I'm going to document the process on a YouTube channel, right? I'm going to create a YouTube channel and document my process of building an e-commerce store. And then once I've done that, I'll have learned lots of stuff about building an e-commerce store. So I'm going to start podcasting about all the different things that I've done, and I'm going to start blogging, right? And then hopefully, as I'm building that e-commerce store, I'm going to find areas of marketing that or certain tools that aren't available to do jobs that I want to do, and then I'm going to find a software solution that I'm going to create and use the profits from my e-commerce store to get involved to do, right? Whatever it is. So that can be your and then I'm going to write a book about the whole damn thing, right? You know, just giving you some kind of vision to be able to keep reaching for these different business models. And we're the e-commerce guys at the end of the day. We love e-commerce. That's what we love doing. We're not the podcast guys, right? You know, we're enjoying podcasting, and we absolutely love podcasting actually, but we're the e-commerce guys, and we really want to just keep focusing on building this e-commerce empire, as such. And, you know, nonetheless, we're still blogging, we're podcasting, and we are certainly thinking about ideas with software. And I've certainly been thinking about writing a book for years. And it's something you should do too. It's something everyone should be involved with. So that's that. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say on the topic.
No, I think once you've chosen the right path, I think everything else, if you chose to write, then you're one step away from building an e-commerce store. Because if you're successful in writing, and then you're selling a course, or I don't know, selling anything like an ebook, a book, or whatever, then it's really easy to go from e-commerce, from building your own app, from doing everything else.
You have to look where each one provides you with an opportunity as well. You know, you got to say to yourself, look, if you've learned a bunch of stuff from building an e-commerce store, then that's a perfect opportunity. You've got content there to put out to the world, whether you want to start a YouTube channel, podcast, or blog. You've got the content. If you just sit down tomorrow and go, I'm going to start writing a blog. I've never built any business. I'm just going to start writing a blog. And you go, well, what am I going to write it about? Well, I really like plants. And you go, well, the thing is, I really like plants. It doesn't mean I know a lot about them. Okay, it's great. And you're going to start a blog, and you're going to learn a bunch of stuff about plants, because you're going to have to research every article that you write, and it's going to be really useful. But it's a long and painful process, because you're going to have to learn about plants and write about them, and the only output, the only result is the blog. Whereas if you are starting an e-commerce company, or you're starting some kind of business, and you use the experiences from that business as your content, then you're essentially doing the same amount of work, right? You're learning all about the business and doing all that stuff, which is the same as you'd be learning all about plants and shit. And you're writing about it. You're documenting it in a blog. But in one case, you're building two businesses. In another case, you're building one, right? Or not even businesses. I don't even know if you want to refer to these as businesses. You're building two things, right? You're building two whatever. So, you know, look for the opportunities where you can utilize this stuff. And again, right, I've built this e-commerce store and it's working great, but my email marketing tool isn't just doing quite the right thing. So, you know, I've got this great idea for how I could build an email marketing tool that I could use for myself. I'm going to go and do some market research and see if other people want to use this tool as well. let everything stem out of each other. And in the process, what you're going to do is you're going to diversify. This is what it really all comes down to. Diversifying as much as possible, right? If you just build a bunch of e-commerce stores, and we hit a massive recession tomorrow, well, your e-commerce stores might drop. And so you want to make sure that, or at least your revenue is going to drop. So you're going to want to make sure that you've got some kind of diversification, that you've got income from book sales. And I know a recession is going to affect everything, but if there is, each market's going to be affected differently. So you want to make sure that you've got book sales, that you've got sponsorships from podcasts still coming in, or the payment from the sponsorships, that you've got, people buying your online courses, or if people have lost their jobs, they've been fired because we're in a recession, perhaps you want to make sure that you've got courses teaching people how to build their own businesses out there, so that suddenly you hit a recession, or the whole world hits a recession, your e-commerce stores go to shit, but people start spending loads of money on your courses because they want to learn how to go and be a freelancer or go and start their own companies or whatever your thing is.
You'll still have a source of income.
Exactly.
Another one. It's exactly like with running an e-commerce store, right? Don't put all your eggs into just one marketing channel.
Yeah.
Diversity.
Diversity.
That's the key word.
Diversity is the key. I think so. I think it's really important. I think it's really important to spread it out. And I think it's really important for your mental health as well, because you have more things. It's very easy to get caught up in and burn yourself out in one area. If you're constantly focusing on one company, on one project, when things go wrong, it can feel like the whole world is falling apart. And I've been there too many times, and I know you have as well.
Absolutely.
When you have invested so much into something and shit isn't working, something just stops working. If you've got these other channels, these other things that you're working on, you're diversifying your mental health as well, right? You're diversifying your mental kind of state of mind and making sure that you've got these other areas, these other things to be focusing on. It's kind of something like, it's almost similar to the 3 pillars podcast we were talking about the other day, right? What are they called? The 3 fractal pillars of happiness. So I can't think what we called it. Yeah, something like that. I'll put the episode in the show notes so you can go and check it out. It's a really cool podcast, actually. I think it's some interesting concepts. But it's the same kind of thing. It's diversifying your mental health, diversifying your mental stress. Yesterday, I had an absolute nightmare, right? I'm spending the whole day working on something for this new business we're building, and it was just trying to get this I had to get this official translation done of this document, Christian, and I was going around just doing it for so long, spending hours banging my head on a wall. Absolute nightmare, getting really, really annoyed with how long it was taking. But then we got all these. Then I can disconnect from that and focus on what I need to prepare for the podcast today and what things I've got going on today, and focus on the case study that we're building and all those kinds of things. So it allows you to find things that motivate you and excite you at any given time when you really need it, because you never know when you're going to be going through a shit phase and banging your head on a wall with one thing. So make sure you got the other things there.
If we're talking about a business, if your only business fails, your entire world will collapse.
Yeah.
I'm talking relationships with everyone.
Yeah.
I'm talking, depression. I'm talking a lot of things. So you got to protect yourself from depression.
Yeah, very true.
From hitting the wall.
Yeah, I agree.
So in conclusion, whatever you do, whatever you start with, do it now, do it good, make it work, do it good. But you got to do it, you got to make it work before you move on to the next thing. Because if you're working on different projects and none of them produces any results, then you might face the wall again.
Yeah, but look for the opportunities in the things that you're doing to let them fuel other projects, right? I think that's another really important thing. Don't get overwhelmed with doing all this at once, but look at where you can utilize your initial project to generate content or generate the business model of another concept. I'm really worried about people getting overwhelmed with doing different things here. I don't think you should be doing a bunch of different things at the same time if you can't do one successfully. But each individual idea that you have, or each individual business that you build, will provide opportunities to create different businesses. And I'm not just talking about if you build an e-commerce store and you go, right, well, now I want to build another e-commerce store because I've seen there's another product that I could develop or whatever. Look for the opportunity to be able to diversify using the knowledge and your experiences from that initial business.
And don't stick to a project that keeps failing. If it doesn't work, stop it immediately, move on to the next thing. Don't
that's
get
a
into
difficult
a loop.
one though. When is the good time to stop something?
When you've tried over and over again. From my perspective, if I've tried it once, but if I've tried it twice, the third time is the time where I stop doing it.
I think that's a much deeper topic though, because you've got.
I agree.
What if it's just a pivot? What do you need? What if you've just got to have a little swivel around and go in a different direction?
There are things that need to happen in order for me to call it a day and just move on to the next projects, obviously. But to simplify it, if it doesn't work once, if it doesn't work the second time, then the third time tells me that I'm not that good at it, or I'm not doing the right thing. So just quit now and put your other ideas into process.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think that's going to have to be one for another podcast because
we should be doing another podcast with this one.
Excuse me, you just don't know. There's so many variables there. And I am someone who has probably done a similar thing to you in the past. I've backed out of projects after spending an entire year on them, just because things weren't working. And here's the problem, right? Could they have been successful? Yes. I just knew that at the time it wasn't right, and I needed to develop other skills and extra knowledge before I would be able to make this thing successful. So I had to kind of deviate my course in life. It wasn't necessarily that the company wasn't going to be successful. It was about me needing to go and learn other things and develop other ideas, almost develop my brain more, so that I had this kind of...
You based your decisions on guts, almost.
Yes. Well, also all the lack of guts, right? The lack of guts, because if I notice that I don't have enough instinct on a certain subject and I don't know how to move forward in the company and it's not apparent to me, then it's almost like there's something missing in my knowledge, my experience here. So I need to go and develop my guts. Oh, Christian, with your phone. Always with your phone.
That's a rookie mistake, isn't it?
And I wish you would change that ringtone as well. Christian's had this ringtone for about 2 years now. Since I've met him, Christian's had this ringtone. And you tried changing it for a while, didn't you? But
I did try, but I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't hear anyone calling me, so I had to switch it back. Because this song actually wakes me up in the morning.
You have that as your alarm as well?
Oh, man. It wakes me up. It's so annoying that it wakes me up so I can turn it on or turn it off.
Oh, I don't know how you do it. Anyway, what were we saying? What were we talking about? Following your gut. So, it just kind of, that's certainly been the case for me. But we'll have to go into that in another podcast. It's a different one altogether.
It's a deep one.
Yeah. Follow your gut. I mean, that's a difficult one. Follow your gut when you don't have a gut to follow. That's the problem. I think that's a big alarm bell when you should notice maybe it's time for me to back out this project.
Well, let's call it instinct. Everyone has instinct. Even animals have instinct. Well, animals have better instincts than we do because we've lost ours. But if your instinct says, at least for me, if my instinct says, stick with it, even if it's shit, then I'll stick with it.
I don't know, right? See, I have this, I think it's a case of if your instinct tells you, it's not about your instinct on whether to stick with something or stop. because a lot of the time your instinct will tell you to stop, because it will tell you that you're not good enough, that you're shit, that you're never going to be able to do it, that everyone's going to hate you because you're just wasting money and wasting time, and you don't have a social life anymore because you're working so hard on your business, so you should just stop. That's what your instinct will tell you a lot of the time. I don't think you should listen to that instinct. I think you should listen to your other instincts, in the sense of knowing whether, so when it comes to times in your business when you need to have instinct, and the lack of instinct is what you should be listening to. When you don't know enough about something, when you don't know how to move forward, and you really find yourself hitting a dead end, it's almost like okay, shit, I need to take a step back. There's a big piece of the puzzle missing here, right? And I don't know how to move past it.
Philosophical.
Yeah, I love this philosophical shit, and it's what happened to me when I had my paleo foods company. The business was running great. It was it was generating money. We were getting like 5, 6, 7,000 in sales every month. It wasn't crazy amounts of money. This was brand new. We'd been running for like 4 months or something, but I knew that I had this lack of instinct, right, in this big area, which was sales. I couldn't sell for shit. I just didn't know how to sell, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. I didn't know what to do about it, and everything else I could work on. I could improve myself, but I couldn't improve this one thing, which was sales, and anxiety. You can't solve anxiety with logic. And so while still running the company, I went and got a job in sales. Right, I went and got a job where I had to be on the phone 300 times a day, calling people, selling shit down the telephone line. So that is the only time in my adult life that I've actually had a job, and it was a job that I went and I looked for that job with a purpose, not the economical purpose, but rather the purpose of acquiring new skills and knowledge. And that is a great segue as well into mentioning how many times a business isn't the right option for you at that moment in time, and getting a job is not always the worst idea, right? It can be a great way to acquire new skills and new knowledge and new experience, and that was what was right for me at the time. That was why I had to back out of that project. I didn't back out of the project, actually. I kept up the project while working this job, and then a bunch of other shit happened that caused the project to fall apart. But anyway.
Yeah. Even if you're an employee at that time when you decided you want to start something, a blog, an e-commerce store, don't quit. Don't put all your eggs into that e-commerce store and that it will work. It might not. So stay an employee until you can until the business is sustainable, auto-sustainable.
Yeah, I have another
it's a tricky one.
Semi-theory on that.
If you don't have any savings.
Yeah, definitely. No. I think it's very good advice. You should never just quit your job and go full in on something until you've really validated it and you've got enough growth and you can live off of it. I have another theory, and it's something I want to explore more, and that's the theory of, it's not really a theory, I just have another idea, and that's that people should look into the possibility of quitting their jobs but doing freelancing. I mean, it depends what your job is, right? You may have a job where you're earning like $150,000 a year, and you've just got to work like a 9 to 5, pretty like simple hours and stuff, and you've got time to be able to work on this on the weekends or whatever, and you've got plenty of money left over, then you should stick with your job. But I think there's another great opportunity that people overlook, which is leaving their jobs and starting freelancing, providing services to people, which gives you a routine or a schedule that's much more flexible for you, and you're in much more control, so it gives you the ability to be able to let your job work around building your business a little bit more as well.
But that depends a lot on your skills, doesn't it?
Well, you can acquire pretty much any skill within like 30 days and sell it, and that's something I really want to.
Before, I don't think it's that easy.
It's
honestly
scary as fuck, but you can 100% go and learn how to edit podcasts, right? And set up a profile on Upwork and start selling services for editing podcasts. And you can charge $35 an hour, easily $40 an hour. You could be earning $5,000 a month selling any a skill that you could learn within 30 days. And I think people overlook that.
I agree. I'm not saying some skills can be acquired in 30 days or less. I'm just saying some of the well-paid skills take time and experience. So we don't want to throw people into that idea that they, go for it, quit your job. You got to make sure it takes time. It might take 30 days for you or me or somebody else, but not for everyone.
No, I'm not saying go and quit your job. I'm saying the first step may not be building a business. The first step may be, instead of building a business on the side, like an e-commerce business, how about building a freelance business on the side, and letting that grow so that you can quit your job and then let that become your full-time job, your freelancing, and then begin to build your business on the side, your e-commerce business
Absolutely.
on the side.
So,
all right.
What you're saying is build up your skills, start freelancing, and only then
build up your skills. The problem is, people listening to this will probably go, I don't have any skills, or I don't know what my skills are, and that's a really shit situation to be in. I know it really sucks when you're looking for skills. The fact is, you could do anything. You can do anything. You can acquire skills. You can acquire them relatively quickly as well.
Absolutely.
So go and start learning something. If there's something you think you might be interested in, if you like podcasts and you think you might want to have a podcast one day, then let your skill be editing podcasts, because that's going to be a skill that you'll need one day for yourself. So go and sign up to Udemy or lynda.com or whatever. For you on Udemy, you can get courses for like $29 or something. Go and get a course on how to edit podcasts. Download Audacity for free and start editing stuff, and then start selling that service. It's going to help you in the future. It's going to earn you money now. It's going to help you to be able to edit your podcast that you're going to release one day in the future. It's all about using these things to work together to build your skills and knowledge. If you're, this began, and this comes a full circle back round here. If you're building a business, then you're building skills and knowledge that you can share with people in a podcast. You're building skills and knowledge that you can share in a blog or on a YouTube channel. So it's about utilizing the different things that you are doing to either set you up for the future, or in most cases set you up for the future, right? The e-commerce store that you're building is probably going to help you find a software tool that you can develop in the future and something you can build, right? It's going to give you the content you need to build out a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel. So play off these different things. And if you're going to go and sell a service first, then make sure it's a service that's going to be useful to you in the future. Christian and I have been doing digital marketing as a service for people for many years, and that allows us to stay on top of our game in digital marketing. When you're running your own business, right, you only you have a very restricted view of the world, and by that I mean you aren't really specializing in any area of what you're doing. So if you're working on sales in a business, you're not going to be the best at sales. If you're working on marketing for your business, it's not going to be the best marketing, because you're spreading yourself across all these things. And so there may be times when even if you have Facebook ads as your main channel for your business, you're not really up to date all the time with what's going on in the Facebook ads, because you're only running your campaigns, and it's not like you have to be on your campaigns monitoring them all day, every day. Whereas when we are working with clients running their Facebook campaigns, we have got to be on the ball, and we are checking their campaigns every day, because we've got multiple clients who've all got campaigns on Facebook. So it's helping us develop our skills and our knowledge and keep up to speed in the marketing world.
And we're facing a lot of new challenges every day. So we got to keep up to date. You're forced by your clients to be up to date with everything, because you got to sort the problems they encounter.
Exactly. And so that's skills that you can then apply to your own business very easily. Again, what was I going to say?
My apologies.
No, I was just about to mention something else that's the same kind of thing. I can't think. I don't know. But yeah, you're building the skills to be able to apply it to your own business. So again, it's about intertwining all these different things. intertwining all of your different business ideas or business models to support each other in different ways. Your blog can support your book that you're going to bring out one day, or your courses that you're going to bring out. Your business can support your blog and give you content for your blog. Your business can give you business. When I say business, I mean like your e-commerce store. Your store can give you software ideas. So it's really about playing all of these things off of each other and building out this network, building out your empire, right? You can do it. Anyone can do it. Anyone can build out one of these empires.
I agree.
And I think it's a great thing to do.
Push yourself. Your
and
writing
don't
might
be
be
afraid.
shit at first.
Exactly.
Your marketing skills might be absent at first.
Yeah.
But, learn new skills. You might, even with freelancing, you might not get the projects because you won't have any rating. You won't have any great skills. But start small. Build your projects, or start writing articles if you're building a blog, and start learning new techniques, or learn about how to write.
Learn about how to write. There you go.
That's how I would start.
In conclusion, should I start a blog, create software, or build an e-commerce store? The answer is yes. Do it all. Do everything. And don't do it all at once, because you're going to burn yourself out and it's probably all going to fall apart and you're going to cry and go and be very upset. Don't do that. But have the vision for how all of these different things can help each other. All of these things intertwine. Every business that you create is providing fuel, knowledge, information for other businesses. That does not mean that you should never complete one business. Not that a business can be completed, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't ever continue with one business and keep dropping out of businesses because you've got new ideas and want to start on different things. No, this is talking about building them alongside each other, letting different businesses complement each other, and in doing that, you're going to be able to diversify more. You're going to diversify your mental health and happiness, because you're not going to have all your eggs in one basket. And you're going to have a great time building this out, and you're going to learn a bunch of new skills. You're going to learn how to podcast, you're going to learn how to blog, you're going to learn how to write, blah, blah, blah. So go and do it. Acquire new skills. Don't become complacent with what you're doing. Just because you're good at e-commerce doesn't mean you should stick with e-commerce alone. Go and learn new skills, learn how to do other stuff. You'll be a happier person for it, and you'll be a much more wise and knowledgeable person for it. Thank you. I've been Charlie Center.
And I've been Cristiano Oprea. Thank you for listening.
We'll call it a day. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye for now.
Cheers.